Dave and Ryan's movie review and action.
Everyone loves going to the movies. And while some are amazing, some are awful. Fortunately, we have Dave and Ryan, two guys with nothing better to do than watch movies of today and movies of yesterday. So get your popcorn ready, silence your phones, and relax, because the show is about to begin.
Cue Dave and Ryan in 3, 2, 1.
It's Dave and Ryan's movie review.
Sponsored by nobody.
Afternoon, evening, and welcome into Dave and Ryan's movie review live. We talked about this last week for a little bit. We are live right now on Facebook, and we are live on YouTube. And we're going to play around and maybe do this once or twice a month. It's fun. We just have to be on our toes.
It's also very stressful.
We just have to be on our toes.
Yeah.
Other than this,
Can you see your toes?
I can't. Wow, that was rude.
I can see my toes right now.
So other than obviously what we're dealing with today, how's your week been?
Super. It's been busy, but not too busy.
Not
How
too
about
bad.
you?
Not too bad at all. You know, got to go see this movie finally that we're going to talk about today.
I know it took you a while.
You saw it about a week ago, didn't you?
Yeah.
So we'll get into that, but lots of great things to get into. And once again, follow us, like us, and subscribe on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page. And then when we do this again, you just get this notification that says Dave and Ryan are live, which is quite possibly a scary
You'll get
thing
a
to see on
dingle
your
in
cell
your
phone.
pocket.
That's right. I don't know. Well, are you ready to just get at it?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go to Hollywood.
Welcome to Hollywood Boulevard, a place of glitz, glamour, and dreams. Just kidding. This place is a dump. That's why Dave and Ryan come here each week. You get the news from Hollywood without fearing for your life on the Walk of Fame. It's This Week in Hollywood.
I have feared for my life on the Walk of Fame before.
I have never been on the Walk of Fame.
Yeah, you'll fear for your life.
Is that where all the stars are?
It is.
Okay.
It is. All right, let's get rolling right here at it. How about the Superman budget and break-even point numbers came out?
Every week with this guy.
We gotta keep an eye on this one. Okay, so
Why?
the budget, because you don't want to see it. I get it. However, some people do. The
Doesn't
budget.
mean we got to talk about it every week.
Yes, we do. The budget is $225 million.
Over budget.
But it's not. When you think about that, I mean, you've got Avengers movies and stuff that were $400 million. So I don't think it's that bad as far as the budget is concerned. $500 million at the box office would make it profitable. But for people like Ryan to say that it was a successful film, it's got to make about $700 million.
When did I say that?
No, I'm just saying that's they're saying in the court of public opinion, it's got to make about $700 million.
Honestly, as long as it makes back its budget and
Doubles.
yeah, it's fine. You know, we've talked about this multiple times with the Disney. Oh, we made back our money and like multi-millions more. It's a complete disaster.
Yeah, Thunderbolt.
Really, that paid for the next one.
Yeah, but anyway, so that's what they're saying is that in the court of public opinion, Superman has to make over $700 million to be successful.
I think the first weekend's going to be very big because, James Gunn's first one. So everyone's got that excitement and they're going to go. I know we have tickets to go see it early.
Early, yeah.
And so we'll give our opinion. When is that again? It's in July?
July. Comes out July 11th, so it's not that far off.
We'll wait and see.
And the other thing, too, it's currently tracking right now for a $90 to $125 million opening weekend.
We'll see.
And the reason they went with the 700 too, that was the other thing that I saw. The reason they went with the 700 million for success is because the Batman did, I think, 7.25.
The Batman.
The Batman. So he's good.
It's good. The
He's
books are good.
So and more keeps coming out about this movie, and I think this is going to be the movie of the summer. I really do. Lilo and Stitch was fantastic.
It's your opinion.
Lilo and Stitch was fantastic, so I don't want to take anything away from that. We now know that Meet the Parents 4 is set to be released by Paramount and Universal. It will come out in November of next year. De Niro, Stiller, Terry Polo, and Blythe Danner are reprising their roles, and Ariana Grande is set to star in this one.
Was she?
She's got to be one of their. got to be one of the kids, right?
I was gonna say, yeah.
I would think. I don't know.
You don't know.
Nope. You almost looked like De Niro there when you did that, and now people can see it. It's crazy.
Hey, you talking to me?
You talking to
You
me?
talking to me?
But has this run its course?
I think it's run its course just like Superman's run its course.
But you still have with this, you still have the same core. Superman and superhero movies and things like that always change.
This is true.
But you still got the four, the four horsemen of the apocalypse that are going to be in this movie. I don't know. I think it's run its course. I really do. One thing I would like to see Owen Wilson pop up in this movie somewhere. I loved him in the first one. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's run its course, but I think now it's been quite some time since the first one came out that maybe they're tapping into that.
Maybe.
And thinking, because, if Ariana Grande is going to be Ben Stiller and Terry Polo's daughter, then, yeah.
I really hope not.
It's been a minute. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that one. All right, so this week, we're going to go see this one. We're going to review it next week. 28 years later for the projection.
Yep.
Are you ready? $30 to $40 million opening weekend projection. What are you thinking?
I'm going to say 29.
You're going to say 29? Okay, I'm going to write that down. I'm going to say 30, 35. I'm going to say 35. I don't know what this movie's going to do. However, you are bringing back, of course, Danny Boyle and then the gentleman that wrote the first one. No Cillian Murphy in this one, sorry. A lot of people are upset. But I guess now they're doing some offshoot movies and some spin-off movies, and he's going to be in one of those, is what Danny Boyle has said. So we will see how that all works out into to be. All right, so the top 5 from the week that was. Number 5 from the world of John Wick, Ballerina. Brought in $9.7 million, bringing its total to just $42.1 million. Number 4, Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. Still hanging in there.
Still hanging in there? Wow.
Still hanging in. $10.5 million, bringing its total to $166.5 million. Materialist. This one is an A24 movie. Looks really good. Brought in $12 million in its first week. Lilo and Stitch, $15.7 million at number 2 with $366.5 million total, which brings us to our projection from last week.
Oh, no.
Yeah, How to Train Your Dragon. Now, How to Train Your Dragon was projected to do between 80 and 100 million.
I do not remember what I went with.
You went big, and then you went home. $110 million. Okay? I said 75. We were both wrong, although it was the number 1 movie, and it did hit that opening week projection of 84.6.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about 2 of those movies, How to Train Your Dragon and Lilo and Stitch, a little bit later on in the show, because they're both these reimaginings, these live-action remakes, and how long have they been around, and those kind of things. So we're going to get into that in another segment. But first, we have to do this. It's time for an honest movie review.
Greetings. I am Dr. Rupert St. John, preeminent British film critic and beacon of cinematic taste. I'm here to inject a desperately needed dose of sophistication. Today, we'll go back to 1989 and look at Adam Sandler's first theatrical attempt, Going Overboard.
Adam Sandler is a cruise ship waiter fishing for laughs.
All my life, I just wanted to get on stage and make people laugh.
Somewhere between seasickness and murder, this killer comic discovers the power of laughter. Adam Sandler is going overboard.
I can't think of anything funny.
It's a killer.
Yeah, I am funny.
This movie is so bad, you'll wish Alec Baldwin was next to you with an alleged prop gun. I suppose you'll be graced with my presence once more next week with another honest movie review.
That was all for you.
I'm sure it was. Have you ever seen that movie?
I have never seen that movie ever.
I've seen parts of it.
Yeah?
I've never seen the whole thing all the way through. I've just seen parts. And it is it is horrible. It is.
Well, when Jordan told
absolutely-
me about the movie, he said it might be the worst movie ever made. Is that possible? Is it oath worthy?
It's around. It's on the block.
Okay. Okay. All right. So today we went and viewed the movie Last Rodeo. It's an Angel Studios movie starring Neil McDonough. We're going to talk about that. And then we're going to dive into Angel Studios. We've actually seen about 3 or 4 Angel Studios movies. So we're going to talk a little bit about them, where they've come from, what they've done, maybe some things that they do that you don't know they do. Right? And then we'll close, like I said, talking about reimagining of animated movies. Like, you know, you take exactly what Disney's doing. You know, they had an animated feature that works, and now we're going to turn it into this live-action CGI thing.
Money grabbing.
Money grabbing. We're going to talk about all of those things when we come back on Dave and Ryan's Movie Review.
We're all descendants of the finest dragon fighters from everywhere the Vikings ever traveled. These beasts are a threat to all of our lands. It's time, Hiccup.
I have to kill you. I will, because I'm a Viking. Hear that? I'm a Viking! It's okay. I won't hurt you. Maybe they're not as bad as we think they are.
In case you forgot, our parents' war is about to become ours. Figure out which side you're on.
They've killed hundreds of us!
And we've killed thousands of them! Toothless, no! He's a friend! You all need to see this. I'm not one of them.
Wow, you've lost everything. Your father, your tribe, your best friend. What are you gonna do about it?
Probably something stupid.
Well, you've already done that.
And something crazy. What's up to us? Us? Stick with me. All right, bud, you ready? Come on! Here it comes!
The terrible terror!
It's like the size of my...
Sit here. Auntie, what's going on? Jimmy, sit still, keep quiet, and do not move from this spot.
Seven, 6, 11, 5, 9 and 20 miles today, 4, 11, 17, 32 the day before. Boot, 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 moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. Don't look at what's in front of you. Boot, 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 moving up and down again. Men go mad with watching them. There's no discharge in the war. If your eyes drop, they will get the top of you. Boot, 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 moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war.
Elio! Skipping school? I don't know if this is boundary testing or sleep regression or... Ugh. Which one of these is you?
I don't know, but I think that one is you.
You need to make friends. I went here too when I was a kid. You might not believe me right now, but this will be good for you.
All I ever wanted was to find a place to fit in. It's really happening!
Whoa! Welcome. Allow me to adjust your gravity.
I'm fine.
Gravity on. Can I trouble you for a DNA sample?
Sure. Where do you want it? Ew! Wow.
Everyone's eager to meet you. I am the Universal User's Manual. I contain the secrets of the universe. What is the meaning of life?
Who would win in a fight? One gorilla with a baseball bat or 10 chimps?
The gorilla.
This is the most beautiful place I've ever seen.
You'll be one of us. Leader of Earth.
Huh?
Don't stop me! Don't stop me! Prepare to be conquered!
But I just got here.
Perhaps one of us could talk to him. You do it.
I am shy.
I'll do it. You're in great hands. You're crazy. Okay, stand your ground.
This is who they send. You are more puny than I expected.
I could say the same about you. Back home, I didn't fit in.
Well, I liked you.
It's like I was always meant to be here. And now Grygon's gonna blow everyone up? My friends need our help.
You made a friend?
You will feel my wrath. Glorden?
Hi, Dad. I'm a bargaining chip.
No, say the other thing.
Oh, help me, Father. He overpowered me.
Disney Pixar's Elio.
I've never been a bargaining chip before. I've been a liability, a disappointment. I've also been an enigma, a problem, a headache. Oof. Little help? Ow. Oof.
Dad.
What's more exciting than a brand new release to the movie theater? According to Dave and Ryan, nothing. They're the first to see it, so you're the first to hear about it. And this week's latest release is The Last Rodeo. To save his grandson, a retired rodeo star enters a high-stakes bull riding competition. Along the way, he confronts his past, discovers faith, and proves that true courage lies in family. The Last Rodeo was rated PG and is now playing nationwide.
All right,
Now
so
you can talk,
there
Dave.
you go. I just went and saw this movie last night. Ryan went about a week ago.
I went opening weekend.
The Last Rodeo, an hour 58 minutes, rated PG, stars Neil McDonough, Michael T. Williamson, yes, that is Bubba from Forrest Gump,
Yep.
and Shooter McGavin, Christopher McDonald in this one. And we'll talk about him here in just a moment because kind of a different role for him.
Yeah.
So Neil McDonough plays a rodeo champion, 3-time rodeo bull riding champion. And things are going great for Neil. And one day his grandson is playing baseball and gets hit. They think he's got a concussion. They take him to the doctor. They do an MRI, finds out he has got a brain tumor. And his mom, which is Neil McDonough's daughter, her insurance will only cover 40%?
Yeah, 40%.
That's still going to leave them on the hook for about $200,000. So he decides that he is going to ride a bull in this, what is it, the PBR Legends?
PBR Legends.
And that's what it's called. It's PBR Legends. First prize is $750,000. So, of course, this is the normal rodeo movie.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that Neil McDonough is in his 50s.
Yeah, so this movie really reminded me of like an early 90s rodeo cowboy type of movie. I did it for you.
Yeah, like 8 Seconds. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Pure Country.
It's it's a fast-paced story. There's not a whole lot of downtime. Like you said, it's an hour and 52. The whole story, you know, like, oh, something bad happened. Oh, good thing, something's good. We can go. You know, typical 90s kind of storyline there.
The one thing that I kept waiting for when he started riding in the competition was, and I don't know about you, I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, I was waiting for him to get hurt. I was waiting for something to happen to Charlie, to Michael T. Williamson's character.
Well, they both kind of got injured.
They did, but I'm talking like catastrophic something.
You
Not
wanted,
that I
you
wish
wanted
that,
one of them to drop dead?
No. Not that I wished that on anybody, but I'm just saying that I thought and felt that something was going to happen along those lines to the point where it was, you know, something that just shook everybody. I don't know if you felt that way.
No, this story is very predictable.
Yes.
The whole thing, we have talked about this earlier today. The whole storyline about his son and the grandmother or whatever,
right?
Him having the same thing she had. We didn't really learn or get to know her like at all. Like, we see like a flashback of them in the stands when he's gonna ride a bull, and then she turns and she's bleeding out of the nose, and then next thing you know, it's like some years later, and he's just at her grave. You don't really know anything that happened. You don't know anything about what he's been through or what anyone else has been through. It's just flash forward. So yes, it's sad, but the grandmother dying, you know, it happens. She died young. That's sad, but you know, as a story and a movie plot, it's not very strong.
The other part of it too is everybody kind of knows that Neil McDonough will kiss no woman on screen except for his wife. So how did they make that happen?
It was his wife.
His wife in the movie is his wife in real life.
Yeah, I was watching that and I was like, wait a minute. And
I saw that.
And then after the movie, I was like, oh, I Googled it, and I was like, oh, it was his wife.
In fact, she was a producer, I think, even on the movie.
Yeah.
But you know, it just goes, and it's a very straightforward. It is a very straightforward Angel Studios movie.
Yeah.
You're not going to get anything inappropriate in it. You're not going to get anything like that in it. Some of the bull riders, we were talking about it this morning.
Oh my God.
We were talking about it this morning. The fact that Angel Studios has this, you know, this diagram that they follow for movies. They go out and they get a couple of good actors. Okay. There
was 3 really good actors in this.
They have a somewhat fleshed out story, and the stories for Angel Studios are usually fairly good, but they're just not complete. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like in this one, the 3 good actors, at least in my opinion, was Neil, Bubba,
yep,
and I don't remember her
daughter.
name. The daughter.
Yeah, I can't remember. Let me look that really quick.
She was amazing in this one.
The daughter was really good, I got to say. Was it Sarah Jones, I believe is her name. But here's the other part of that. We said we would discuss. Christopher McDonald.
Yeah,
Shooter McGavin.
Oh my gosh. Usually he plays like the weasel type of character, the bad guy. He was not the bad guy at all in this movie. In fact, he was an angel.
He really was.
He was the most helping person in this movie, and it was weird to watch.
It was
he played this like multi-millionaire type of cowboy guy who was in charge of the promotion and everything. And like any point I was just waiting him to go.
It was very unsettling seeing him play a decent human being.
I know.
Let's just be honest.
You know, that just means he's got range.
Yeah, I guess.
Remember how we talked about character development last week?
That's right. But that was one thing we talked about is the fact that it was very unsettling to see him play this good guy.
It wasn't unsettling.
And that was another thing that you kept waiting for the other shoe to drop with him.
Yeah.
The whole movie, you kept waiting for that. But no, he was really good in it, and yeah, he became an angel and rescued everything. Kind of came to the day. So it was. So you had those good actors. Then they actually went out and got rodeo cowboys to play rodeo cowboys in the movie.
I don't know who he was. He's a real professional bull rider. But when he talked, his jaw never moved. He just kind of talked like this, and if you're watching me on Facebook and YouTube, you can see my jaw is not really moving, and that's how he talked, and it sounded so weird.
He talked that way the whole time.
The whole movie.
And
I just wanted someone to slap him.
But so yeah, and you've got a few, and I think mostly they did that so that they could have the close-ups of them at least riding.
Yeah.
And so it worked for that. But yeah, the acting was not great. And then there were some continuity issues that I told Ryan about that every now and then I will watch. And if you go to see this movie, make sure you check it out, because when they start out...
Eli Dave over there.
Yeah, it might be the only thing that I noticed. But when they start out driving, the truck is from Texas. And then there's one scene when they're driving down the road, and the truck is magically now from Colorado. And so little things like that. But
they were on the lam. They had to switch up plates.
I guess stole plates off of another truck. Whatever works for them. But it's a good family movie. It really is. It's an uplifting story, and I think that's what Angel Studios is kind of geared toward now, that they're headed in this direction with these movies. I'm going to give this one a solid 3 buckets. I think it was a good movie. The story is pretty decent, but it's not like some of the other movies that we'll talk about here in just a little bit from them. But I would give it 3 popcorn buckets out of 5. I thought it was a really good movie.
It was a good movie, and I'm gonna give this one 3.5. So just because I thought, like I said, I thought she did an amazing job.
I'm knocking him down. I'm knocking him down a half for that license plate.
Well, Dave,
I'm a stickler.
You're a stickler for a pickler.
I guess.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't either. And please don't try to explain. We're live right now. So. Like I said, this one is from Angel Studios, and there are quite a few Angel Studios that we've seen, that we've reviewed, and so we thought it would be interesting to dive into that. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to talk about some of the history behind Angel Studios, and then some of their bigger releases, including the movies that we've seen and that we've reviewed. And there is a TV series that is, I'm going to say it's taking over, that a lot of people enjoy, that's from Angel Studios.
It's like the next Yellowstone type.
Something like that. And some people may not realize that it's an Angel Studios production. We're going to talk about all of that when we come back on Dave and Ryan's Movie Review.
Hey, idiots. We're back from commercial. Dave and Ryan's Movie Review, Segment 2, and action.
These two movie buffs can't stop swooning over The Last Rodeo. I haven't seen that much emotion from Ryan since Dave snuck an edible into his gummy bears during The Oath. Let's tumble head first into the Angel Studios rabbit hole. These folks over in Provo have been cranking out hits faster than you can say indie darling. Let's not forget The Sound of Freedom and Possum Trot. But trust me, those are just a couple of sparkling gems in a whole treasure chest of content that Angel Studios is serving up. But hey, don't take my word for it. Let's hand things back to our self-declared movie connoisseurs, Dave and Ryan. Stay tuned, because apparently there's more to see in Provo than just BYU.
I would agree with that statement. I mean, there's the temple, and there's the other temple.
I'm going to stab you, Dave.
All right, so let's get into this. Angel Studios, okay? Let's not forget, let's talk about first where they came from. Remember VidAngel?
No.
Okay, VidAngel was the company that would take movies, like big blockbuster, normal theatrical releases, clean them up and edit them down, and then turn around and re-release them and sell them.
Okay, yeah. Didn't they get in big trouble?
They got in big trouble for that.
Copyright issues.
Yes.
Yeah,
so they started as VidAngel. This was clear back in, I believe, the early 2020s.
Yep. Okay, I remember that now. I didn't know that was them.
Actually, 2014. Sorry.
I didn't know that was them.
Yeah, so they started out as VidAngel, and they did. They got into a lot of trouble because of that very reason. They were sued by several Hollywood studios for copyright violations.
Yep.
Because you can't take their movie, clean it up, and then turn it around and resell it.
Exactly.
Something wrong with that, I guess.
Not only does it ruin the story of the movie, it's a big copyright issue. It's like it would be like me taking a song from the radio here from an artist and basically cutting out like verses of it. The song wouldn't make sense.
And then putting it back on the air and selling it.
Yeah.
And that's
selling it for money. Like if they just did it for themselves, that would have been fine, because if after you buy a copy of it, you can do whatever you want with it as long as you don't sell it for profit.
Right. And they thought that they were okay because I guess there's the Family Movie Act of 2005 that they felt allowed them to do this.
No,
Either way,
that was stupid.
They ended up selling the service to a company that was rebuilt, put together, and it was sold to now VidAngel Entertainment. Okay, and so then Angel Studios was started by crowdfunding, and they still do that to this day.
Yes, they still do that today.
In fact, at the end of last rodeo, I like how they do that pay it forward deal.
Yep.
And so there's always, in every Angel Studios movie you go to, at the end, one of the stars comes on, explains how it works. There's a little QR code. You go on, you can scan it, and then if you would like, you can go to their website and just say, yes, this is what I want to do. Get a ticket off of there and take it to the theater, and it's paid for. That's how they get people to go to these movies. So it's pretty cool. Now, the first time we really had any kind of, inclination or were absorbed in and got into video or Angel Studios was The Sound of Freedom. This movie is 2 years old, if you can believe that. Jim Caviezel, Mira Sorvino, and it's about Tim Ballard, which is a real guy. And he was a government agent, and it was all about sex trafficking in Colombia.
Yeah, that was a big one when it came out.
It was
made
huge.
It made a big splash.
It did, and I can remember when we did the review, we didn't think the movie itself was that great.
No,
but as a PSA,
the message was good.
It was fantastic. And this movie is out there now. The other thing about this, too, is Angel Studios actually has their own streaming service.
Yes.
That you can go on and you can watch these movies, and you can watch the very popular Homestead television show.
Starring who?
Starring Neil McDonough. See how it works?
Got it.
Right? And then we moved into The Sound of Hope, the story of Possum Trot.
That one was... It was, the first one, The Sound of Freedom, was hard to watch.
It was.
This one, it wasn't hard to watch, but it was emotionally hard to watch.
It is
because
exactly what it was.
It dealt with, a very sensitive subject, adoption in the South was it the 40s?
No, this was actually in the late 90s.
Late 90s,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So what it was is the lady, her husband ran a church, and they adopted. And then they decided that they were going to get everyone in their congregation to adopt these kids that had nowhere else to go. And it was a struggle. And it talks, like you said, it was emotionally tough to watch.
Yeah,
but
because they a lot of the children's had some special issues. There were some special needs kids in there. In fact, the one that the main couple, the pastor and his wife adopted, one of their kids was had special needs too, and there was another one that was, I don't know if it was the same one, the one who was like deathly afraid of water.
Yes. And that they had the one that had to deal with the girl that kept running away, and it's all about adopting these kids who really have nowhere else to go. And it was a really good movie. And once again, at the end of that one, you had the actual pastor and his wife on there talking. We thought it was funny when we watched it because they're here talking, asking you for money, and he's got this big gold watch that takes up half of his arm. But still, I digress.
Well, that, and she wouldn't let him speak very much.
No, maybe she just knew better. But anyway, it is actually, and that was a true story. The first two that we talked about were true stories: Sound of Hope and Sound of Freedom. They're both true stories, and they're both great Angel Studios movies.
Angel Trees.
Then, of course, like we said, we just talked about The Last Rodeo. That was a great film. The King of Kings, we just went and saw. It came out at Easter time this year.
Yep.
An animated feature. The animation in it was okay. It really was. I think for me, and we also talk about the fact that they get these amazing actors. They had, and this was just voice actors. They had Kenneth Branagh and Uma Thurman and Mark Hamill and Pierce Brosnan were all part of this. Forrest Whitaker and Ben Kingsley and Oscar Isaac were all part of this movie.
Yeah, there's a big movement right now with with Angel Studios. You know, it started off as an independent studio, and it's basically grown. Basically, it's like us here at the radio station. We're an independently owned radio station. We're not part of a big corporation like the radio stations in Salt Lake, where like 4 or 5 of them are owned by the same company, and so you get the same advertisement on those. You know, we're one building here. You know, we have a few different stations, but basically we make all the content. We make the decisions. Unlike if we were corporate, we would have none of that. Would be like, you have to do this.
Right, and that's, I think, what the basis of Angel Studios is these guys saw the need for it.
They were like, you know, we don't like the stories. We don't like the direction that most studios are going. We're going to do our own thing, and they've been very successful.
And after they got their hand slapped, they decided we're going to start doing our own content, original content that's for families specifically. Now, as I said, The King of Kings is the story of Christ. It's told through the eyes of Charles Dickens as he attempts to retell the story to his son.
Yeah, and I honestly, it was hard for me to get through that one.
But here was the thing, and I told you we had this issue with it, is I had to go through and watch because he did write a book about the life of Christ.
Yes.
Charles Dickens did, and he wrote it for his children.
Mm-hmm.
So that is really what the basis of this story is. But it came out it did fairly well. Okay, it did $68 million worldwide.
Yeah, my big problem was it was basically the child he was reading the story to was acting up and acting out and basically destroyed something, and he was not punished for it.
Yes.
At all.
Yes. And see, here going back
he
into
was
this,
rewarded with a story.
With a story, and he got to stay up late, too.
Yeah.
But we're going back into this, a $25 million budget, and it made $68 million.
Yeah.
Can do that. You can do that with these kinds of movies. So, The King of Kings, it's out there right now.
Yeah, the hardest part with Angel Studios is basically the distribute.
Yes.
Because these big studios, they own their own distributing companies. With Angel Studios, they don't do that. They have to send someone to negotiate with basically a film distributor in that area that they want to be in. And sometimes they got, if there's no room.
Right. And the other thing, too, and it goes back to the story when we were talking about Meet the Parents 4.
Mm-hmm.
Paramount is producing the movie. Universal's distributing it for them. So that's
you,
who you're dealing with.
If you've gone up north to like a big show like
Cinemark,
Cinemark or Megaplex, and you want to go see like the Avengers, you'll go there, and it was playing in like multiple theaters. With Angel Studios, it's playing like in one theater and only a few times a day.
Mm-hmm. Because they swap it out with another movie in the same theater. So, but King of Kings was a good flick. This one I haven't seen. I wanted to see, though. It's called Brave the Dark, and it was directed by Damian Harris, starring Jared Harris. Now, everybody should know, some people should know who Jared Harris is. Very, very popular actor. He was on Mad Men. He was on the series Chernobyl. He was I believe he was in one of the Sherlock Holmes movies. He was also in the movie that nobody saw but me, Morbius. But he is the son of Richard Harris. Okay. How did they get him, you ask? Well, they had his brother, Damian Harris, direct the movie. and Richard Harris was in this movie. It looked really, really good. It's about a kid that is in high school. He's got a high school teacher. That's who Harris plays, dealing with a troubled teenager, and it looked really good. So we've got that going for us, and then the TV series that maybe not a lot of people realize, The Chosen. The Chosen is an Angel Studios film production.
Yeah, and it was actually like a 3-part series.
They're on like 8 now because they've got The Last Supper and all those other things.
Yeah, I know when we went and saw the animated one.
Mm-hmm.
This was also playing in theaters. Like 1 week, it was the first
part
few,
1,
first few episodes, and part 2 was the next ones.
Yep. So I hope that gives people a little bit of an idea about Angel Studios. It's a great company. If you want family-friendly entertainment, go and check out their streaming service and have a lot of fun with it because there are some good ones out there. All right, when we come back, it's time to talk about reimagining of animated films, and that's easy. It's CGI of animated films. We'll talk about that, making it easy. We'll talk about that when we come back on Dave and Ryan's Movie Review. All right, imbeciles, everyone quiet down. Dave and Ryan's Movie Review, Segment 3, and action.
Introducing the live-action remake, or as we like to call them, cynical cash grabs that somehow manage to drain every last drop out of magic from the beloved originals. Sure, some of these remakes rake in boatloads of cash at the box office, but let's be real. When's the last time you heard anyone say, wow, that new version was so much better than the animated classic?
Stop it!
Harsh? Maybe. Yikes. Accurate? You decide. And we'll let Dave and Ryan state their take on animated classics turning into live action.
So this is one of those segments that we've looked at and started talking about just kind of around the office and putting this one together. And so I decided to, first where I'm going to start is I'm going to look and see what ones have been done and what ones have been successful. So you go on, when I look at box office totals, I look at boxofficemojo.com. Great place to go. It's where you get all your weekend, box office totals and things like that. And you just type in reimagined movies.
Reimagined movies.
And they pop up with 20 of them, first and foremost, because that's all the list will propagate is the top 20. Guess who made all of them, and the first 5 guesses don't count.
Disney.
They're all Disney movies. Now that will probably
They're
change.
the only ones who've done it.
That will probably change with How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah, I think that's the first non-Disney.
We looked it up, and I think it is. I mean, it's like the first non-Disney one. Of course, they're known for doing those things. Now, DreamWorks is who put together How to Train Your Dragon. This movie, another non-Disney animated film that they're looking at making into a live-action remake, this movie scared the bejesus out of me when I was a kid. And I don't know if you remember it or not. The Last Unicorn.
Yeah.
Okay, there's talk of that one and The Swan Princess.
I don't remember The Swan Princess.
But then if you look around, people are talking about, and it's not really anybody of note. It's like bloggers that this is what they would like to see. They would like to see things like The Iron Giant.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Anastasia, which probably would be pretty good. Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest.
Anastasia would be an easy one.
Yeah. Well, they do the live.
Except for the little bat guy.
They do a stage production of it. So yeah, the bat guy would be the only CGI in the whole show. So let's look at it because, like I said, we were talking about it, and How to Train Your Dragon will break into this list.
Yeah. Well, also, besides Disney and now How to Train Your Dragon. You know, Netflix has been doing some adaptations of some anime films.
Anime, yeah.
And it's been hit or miss.
Yeah, it has been.
But
It has been.
let's go with your list.
All right, we're going to start. Should we start at the bottom or start at the top?
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Okay, so number 10.
Number 10.
2019's Tim Burton's Dumbo. Not a successful movie when it came out.
It looks so bad.
It looks scary.
I never saw it.
So
it looked so bad.
But worldwide, that movie did $350 million. So, and that's 2019. That's pre-COVID. Okay.
Now, let me ask you, what was the first one?
The first one, we talked about that. I believe the first one was 101 Dalmatians.
100, okay.
Yes, and I believe that came out in 96. I will look into that.
That was the pre-CGI era.
Yes, it was.
What was Beauty and the Beast the first CGI one?
No. We'll get to that. You're getting ahead of
I'm
yourself.
Sorry, Dave. I'm excited.
Yeah, 101 Dalmatians came out in 1996.
Okay, yeah.
Okay? So that's got to be pretty close to the first one.
That was a decent one.
Yep. And here, number 9 is one that, I was told, I don't know as though it belongs on the list, but it's still because it's not really a remake. It's kind of a redo or whatever. But Oz the Great and Powerful.
Oz the Great and Powerful.
This one is on the list, and it comes in at number 9 on the list. 2013.
I don't.
Franco was in this one.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, that did almost.
For some reason, I was thinking of the Return to Oz.
Oh no, that one did $493 million at the box office in 2013.
That was so bad.
Then one that I have not seen, but I have been told is fantastic. Cinderella came out in 2015.
Haven't seen that one.
And that one did $542 million.
Were the mice in it?
It was complete. Then Maleficent. And I didn't hate Maleficent. A lot of people hated on it. I didn't think it was that bad.
They did change the story of her.
It is.
Because at first, in the classic cartoon, she's this big evil baddie person. And then in this one, you actually kind of feel sad for her.
You do. Because it's Maleficent, it's not Sleeping Beauty.
Well, yeah.
No, it's not the story of Sleeping Beauty.
But Sleeping Beauty's in it.
That's true. But anyway,
and the second one was just meh.
2014, and it did $758 million worldwide.
Because it's got the Jolie in it.
Probably. Then at number 6 is 2025's Lilo and Stitch.
Ooh, that one's going to go up there.
And it's already sitting at $860 million. Yeah. And that will, that's a tough row to hoe to get to $1 billion. But yeah. I don't know if it will get that far. Number 5, okay, full CGI, The Jungle Book.
Okay.
That one came out in 2016.
This one I had some issues with it.
Yeah, you did. We've talked about it before on the show.
Yeah, Bill Murray did a good job. Christopher Walken did an okay job, but everyone else was just no.
You weren't into Idris Elba and Scarlett Johansson?
No, it's not a live action movie, even though people say it's a live action movie.
Well, the kid's live action.
He's the only live person in it.
Okay, and
could you just? I will give him credit. He's got to be one heck of an actor if he can. He's just in a green screen room walking around talking to himself.
He literally carried the movie by himself.
Yes, he did.
Cut the kid some slack.
I will cut him slack if you can tell me his name.
Jason Lee.
You pulled that out of your
I'll look it up. I think that's right. Anyway, okay, so number 4. And this movie, the only reason I went and saw this movie was because I took my kids.
Liar.
And I'm being 100% serious. 2010's Alice in Wonderland. Johnny Depp is the Mad Hatter.
That one was interesting. It was, it's, Tim Burton's live action movies, you basically have to be on drugs to watch them.
It's very true. Sorry, Neil Setti. That was the kid's name.
Told you.
Jason Lee was in the other Jungle Book. Okay, sorry. But it was just not good. But it made $1 billion.
$1 billion.
$1 billion. And then the top 3 are pretty synonymous because
it's Snow White, isn't it?
They did great. No, she's not in the top 3. Starting with number 3, and it's 2019's Aladdin.
Okay.
With Will Smith. This was a good film. It really was.
I know a lot of people didn't want to see it because, they didn't think Robin Williams could be replaced.
Well, he wasn't replaced. It was sidestepped, and that's okay. But I thought this movie was really good. And
Robin Williams wouldn't have been able to play the genie anyways because he would have been too old for that
and
role.
on top of everything else, talk about, being able to turn on a dime. Do you know you remember who directed this movie?
The guy who did the Jungle Book?
No. Favreau did the Jungle Book.
Yeah, that's
he
what I
didn't
was
direct
thinking
this
of.
one. No, Guy Ritchie.
What?
Exactly.
That was a Guy Ritchie
That
film?
was a Guy Ritchie film.
What?
I knew I'd get you with that one.
How?
I don't know.
There's nothing Guy Ritchie about it at all.
I know you could understand every single one of the characters in it. There's no twists, there's no turns, there's no drinking. I don't know how they pulled it off, but he did.
Wow.
Okay, see? Now, at number 2 is probably my favorite of the CGI reimaginings, and it's 2017's Beauty and the Beast.
That was a good one.
This was a great one with Emma Watson. I loved Kevin Kline as her father. It was fantastic. And this one brought in $1.2 billion.
Yeah.
And the reason that I liked it, and I think we've talked about this on the show before, the reason I liked it so much is that it gave you a little bit of a backstory with her mom.
Yeah.
And that's what I think was missing from the animated version. And that's why I like this one so much better. Because you got that little bit of backstory. It's like, what's going on?
I thought they did a great job with casting, too.
Yes. Yes, she was fantastic in it. Kevin Kline can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned. I love that dude. He's great in everything. Luke Evans as Gaston. Josh Gad as LeFou.
Yes.
It was just a great movie. I enjoyed that one. But then the number one is probably the one that I like the least. And it is 2019's The Lion King.
That's so bad.
This was a straight CGI movie.
Yeah, there's nothing
You
live
can't
action
call it
about-
live
no.
action. It's CGI. There's no human in this movie. And, the story kind of stays the same and those kinds of things. I just didn't like it. I didn't buy it. And it has nothing to do with my Beyonce bias.
Liar.
No, lion.
Liar.
So but that one brought in $1.6 billion. And I'm sure she had something to do with that.
Now, was that the first CGI one?
No. Full CGI?
Yeah. The live action CGI one.
First full CGI, or are we talking like live? It's not the first. This just came out like 4 years ago.
Well, you said you were going to tell me which one.
I did.
No, you didn't.
101 Dalmatians.
No,
came out in 96.
That's live. I'm talking about the CGI era.
Oh, that's got to be it. It's got to be it. That's full CGI.
Slash live action.
Well, but it's not live action. It's full CGI.
I'm getting a head nod from Jordan there. So yeah, that is the first one. Okay.
Okay.
So I guarantee you that's why it made so much money, because it was the first of its kind.
Okay. You're the first of your kind. How much money have you made in your life?
Not enough.
Okay. All right. Well, guess what? We made it through the first live episode of David Ryan's
Let
Movie
me ask
Review.
you one question here. Out of all the Disney films, if you could choose one to make into a live action / CGI that hasn't been made already, what would it be?
The Rescuers.
The Rescuers.
I love that movie.
The first one?
Yes.
Okay.
Bob Newhart and Gabor. It doesn't get any better than that, man.
Yeah.
Not that they would be in it, but The Rescuers. For my money, I think it would be fantastic.
Nice.
All right, so that's going to do it. Once again, next week, we're going to be talking 28 years later. In fact, we're just going to call it 28 franchise. We're going to cover the review, and then we'll do another segment on it. Be safe out there. Have a lot of fun. Like I said, go to our YouTube channel that you're watching this on. Go to our Facebook page. If you haven't liked and subscribed it already, please do so. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe out there. And until next time, go see a movie.
Well, that's it, folks. The cinematic thrill ride is officially screeching to a halt. But don't worry, you haven't escaped Dave and Ryan's opinions for good. They'll be back next week to dissect, debate, and dramatically disagree over movies you probably haven't even heard of. You can watch tonight's show on our YouTube and Facebook page, or you can listen on demand at castlecountryradio.com. For Dave, Ryan, our director Joseph Workday, and Dr. Rupert St. John, we'll see you next week on Dave and Ryan's Movie Review.
Just enjoy your weekend. I'll see you next week.